Okay, so today's video is how to use the percent bar to solve percent of a number. So the question is, what is 20% of 40 cookies? So if we look at our percent bar, kind of like a downloading screen for an iTunes song, with the beginning of the iTunes downloading screen right here, and upon that bar is the full completion. So before we actually download the song, the very beginning would be 0%. And once that bar is completely filled up, we could say that we have 100% of our percent bar. And these two benchmark percents are always going to be at the beginning 0% and at the end 100% every single time. Okay, so we have percents on the bottom of our percent bar and what we're trying to find on the top. So here we're dealing with cookies. And always on the top is just going to be our regular number. So what is 20% of 40 cookies? So where would 20% go on this percent bar? I would put that somewhere right over here. This is 20%. And of 40 cookies. So 100% represents all of our cookies, or all of what we're trying to find. And how many cookies do we have? We have 40. Okay, so we want to find out what 20% is of 40. So now that we have our percent bar, we pretty much have equivalent ratios or equivalent fractions. So question mark over 20% equals 40 over 100. And our percent bar does a good job of telling us that the 40 is going to stay on top of our fraction bar, and the 100 is going to be below our fraction bar, and the 20% is going to be below our fraction bar, and our question mark is above our fraction bar. So now we can use scale factor, because scale factor will allow us to see that 20 times what will give me 100? Well, that's easy enough. 20 times 5 gives me 100. And whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. And I know that this number times 5 will give me 40. So what times 5 gives me 40? Well, I know 8. And my answer is 8 cookies. And these two fractions should be equivalent. 8 times 100 is 800, and 20 times 40 is 800. But now what happens when our scale factor is not easy to find like this? So we come back over here, and for this question we have, what is 30% of 20 cookies? So again, using the percent bar, our beginning starting point is 0%. Our end is 100%.
Costa, please call extension 2150.
And we have cookies on top of our percent bar. So we're trying to find out what 30% of 20 cookies is. So 20 cookies is always our 100%. And where would we put 30%? Between 0 and 100. We put that somewhere right over here. And we want to find out what 30% of 20 is. So we make our equivalent fractions. Okay, question mark over 30% equals 20 over 100. So now we look, can 30 go into 100 evenly? Well, no, it doesn't. That would take a little bit of work. So we check our second method to find an equivalent fraction. Scale factor is one method, and we could also try cross multiplying. So 30 times 20 gives me 600. And now I need this same product, 100 times this number, has to also equal 600. So 100 times 6 will equal 600. And these two fractions and ratios are now equivalent. So 30% of 20 cookies is 6 cookies. And that's how you use a percent bar.